This is the longest journey in search of the American dream. A journey of more than 3,000 miles. A journey with the beast.
Refugee is someone who has been forced to flee his or her country because of persecution, war, or violence. Hi and welcome again. My name is Gabriel Escalera and this is La Bestia. There are 21 million refugees worldwide. Over half of them are children. These children lose their childhoods to war, gang violence, forced recruitment, human trafficking, domestic abuse, and sexual and gender-based violence, including rape and femicide. In the face of danger, children must make a difficult choice: stay where it is familiar and risk persecution and even death, or flee to an unknown in search of safety. The violence in the northern triangle of Central America has risen to unpredicted levels. Even traditional safe places such as the home, church, or a school no longer shield children from this risk. And gangs have become so powerful and organized that even the police and authorities frequently are unable to protect these children, so they must take it upon themselves to flee to safety. In El Salvador, the gangs MS-13 and 18th Street flood the streets with violence. And that's why Bryan, only 17 at the time, made the trip on the Beast. For today's story, I talked to Bryan, who doesn't want me to use his real name. But Bryan lives in Omaha now. His uncle became his legal guardian. Bryan was living with his mother, his younger brother, and his grandparents. His father left him when he was only 2 years old. At the age of 14, his mother left him too. Then Bryan had to get a job. He was working all day in a farm, doing anything that it was needed, from 5 in the morning to late in the afternoon. Soon, gang members trying to gain territory approached Bryan several times, asking him to join the gang. They told him he was gonna become a gang member one way or other. It would be just a matter of time. Until one day he didn't have any more excuses. His life was in danger. Even his grandparents and his younger brother wouldn't be safe. And without the permission of his grandparents, Bryan left with only $5 on him, and with only one thing in mind: to reach the United States. Bryan rode in bus, cars, and taxi cabs until he reached the Mexico and Guatemala border. Then he was on the Beast. There is where everything became much harder for him. Bryan told me about these horrible stories while he was on the Beast. He witnessed women getting raped. The Mara Salvatrucha gang jumped in the cart once and killed 2 men, maybe in their early 20s. Also, Bryan remembers the 4 days that he went without eating. Bryan told me he cried every night. He didn't know what to do, he didn't know who to call, except that he knew someone here in Omaha. But many times on his trip, he thought that he would be better off dying because it was too much for him. Bryan made it to the United States. He spent 3.5 months in a detention center in Arizona, and he was released to someone here in Omaha. Now, what is interesting about Bryan's case that even though he reached the United States unaccompanied and being a minor, a judge in Lancaster County did not classify him as an accompanied minor, as a refugee. Now he is waiting for another court with an immigration judge, hoping that he will classify him as a refugee. He stands 50 and 50 chance. He might be able to get a legal status or to be sent home, where danger awaits for him. Mark Krikorian, Executive Director of the Center for Immigration Studies, advocates for tougher immigration reforms.
The administration doesn't really oppose illegal immigration. I mean, the people in charge of immigration policy making in this administration don't really, in their heart of hearts, believe that we have a right to keep people out of the country who aren't murderers or drug dealers. In other words, sort of regular illegal aliens who just want a job.
The United States is having a refugee crisis, but nobody wants to call him that. In 2014, President Obama called a humanitarian issue. He was talking about the almost 120,000 unaccompanied minors hoping to reach the United States border by August of 2014. So this is a refugee crisis, not just an immigration headache. Bryan has his master hearing court with an immigration judge in March of 2019, where he hopes he can stay in the United States and have a better life. For MadRadio.fm, I am Gabriel Escalera.
Thank you for listening today. This program is dedicated to the Americans in search of the American dream.